talk to you today a little bit about how we innovate, primarily how we get ideas, how we generate ideas, how we understand the operating environments within which we're trying to innovate, together with the people we innovate for and with. For us, we innovate along a couple of different spectrums. So you see from this slide, we go from no tech to high tech. We go from work directly with refugees in field operations, right the way through to work that we carry out here in headquarters, and everything in between. Now, you can imagine to generate the ideas, to understand the challenges that we're trying to solve, there's a huge diversity of thought that we need to dig into as an organization. Diversity of thought is essential for the way that we innovate for a couple of different reasons. First of all, we need to make sure that we're solving the right problem for the right people with the right people. We need to include people throughout our organization and beyond, especially those who have an intimate understanding of the challenges that we're trying to solve. The second reason that the diversity of thought is essential for the way that we innovate in this organization is that it challenges what exactly we're trying to solve. It challenges what we understand as success. It challenges what we understand as failure. And it challenges us to interrogate our interventions to a much greater degree. Next slide, please. Within the organization, we clearly have to have a clear organizational owner of whichever project that is, and we can dig into that when we move forward. But our universal truth is that if we don't use diversity and inclusion to drive our innovation efforts, then we've missed out on a massive opportunity to do more good with more people and ultimately for more people. So we use a lot of different methods to generate ideas, a lot of different methods to understand the contexts within which we're innovating, a lot of different methods to better understand the challenges and to identify the challenges that we're trying to solve. Some of it is tech-based, so we do use crowdsourcing from time to time. A lot of the innovations generated is through face-to-face work with refugees, with host communities, and with our field staff. We have a couple different methods that we can do that through. Face-to-face is, as you can imagine, the innovation service, some of our team going to a location, carrying out really, really prosaic activities such as talking to people about stuff. The second way that we can innovate with the communities that we work with is through a network of innovation fellows. I won't go into what our innovation fellows are. You can check that out on the website. We work through proxy via our field operations, and we work with a range of partners, including civil society partners. Next slide, please. What I wanted to talk to you about was another method that we've used to engage our field operations and those they serve, and that's surprisingly or unsurprisingly through money. So we used an innovation fund, which we launched in 2016. It's a resource that field operations, refugees, partners could use to experiment, to scale up good practices, and to test out creative ideas. Now, for us, of course, you can fund innovation, you can bankroll innovations, and you can use cash to turn ideas into reality. But what we can also use the funds to do is to gather intelligence. You can use that pool for proposals to understand what do our field operations, what do refugees understand innovation to be? What is the appetite for innovation? Where are the gaps in terms of innovation beyond the seed funding that we could provide? And it gives us a really good opportunity to recalibrate or to calibrate better our interventions in terms of turning that wealth of ideas, that diversity of thought into actual realities that has an impact on our operations, how we understand how we operate, and how we have impact and create value on the ground. So the innovation fund was in itself an experiment for the service to test many of these assumptions. Organizations wanted to understand that appetite, the need, and we wanted to generate ideas from a diverse constituent. In the end, the ideas that were generated were multi-sectoral, multi-regional. It told us that the organization wanted to innovate from diverse ideas as drying fish in Zambia, right the way through to the high-tech gadgetry that we see more commonly from headquarters entities and particularly in our experience of the Middle East, North Africa Bureau, namely the Syria response, for many different reasons. For us, what we wanted to do was to coalesce around those ideas and really to invest in the people behind the ideas rather than just the projects per se. Next slide, please. The next slide talks about Tateh. He's the guy on the right. Tateh's somebody who applied for the Innovation Fund, somebody who generates ideas on a regular basis and is a true innovator that we wouldn't necessarily have identified unless we'd launched this fund. He identified precarious structures within Tindouf in Algeria as a challenge that he wanted to solve for his community. Now this is an individual that was able to design and test an initial home or prototype made out of sand-filled water bottles for his grandmother, incidentally. So if we just skip back one slide, you'll see that prototype that Tateh built with seed funding that we provide through that innovation fund. Now, to generate that idea was one thing. To say we think this is a great idea is another. To invest in that idea and to bring it to fruition and for him to be able to test those assumptions together with his community is an extremely powerful thing, not only for Tateh but also for our field operation. So what we ended up doing with this project was also to provide some coaching on the innovation methodologies. We then started to be able to change that culture within the operation through a little bit of seed funding, identifying a couple of champions within the operation, and by identifying some really great ideas that we could invest in, we could experiment around, and we could generate data to show what works and crucially what doesn't work, what needs to be iterated, what needs to be improved upon. And so, but just by using a small investment of cash, we could generate an awful lot more intelligence and a better understanding of what innovation meant for that operation and how we could support them better. So for us, this is a great solution, one that we think is replicable in other operations where we see a high amount of supposedly recyclable material. We've started to look at how we could use rubble recycling in some parts of Syria a year or so ago. We think that the process of the Innovation Fund is a great process to generate ideas, is a great process to generate that intelligence that we need to drive our innovation efforts. And we think that the lessons that we've generated from this process are going to enable us to launch more funds moving forward, to launch more innovation efforts, and to really unlock a lot more ideas. So that's one of many different avenues that we use within UNHCR to generate ideas, to identify challenges, and to take that data to change how we as an innovation service can better serve this organization.